So, the title of my talk today is To Be or Not to Be. That is the question. As if there ever were really even a question, is what I put at the end of it. To be or not to be, which really is about living a life of choice. So I have a question for you. How many choices do you think you make in a single day? A lot. I love that. A lot. I mean, think about it. How many choices? When you wake up in the morning, what's the first choice you have? What? What was that? Am I going to get out of bed or not? That's good. You wake up and it's like, how many of you got up this morning and thought I could stay in bed a little longer? Right? So there's a choice right there. And then usually you choose to get out of bed. Why is that? Oh, because you have things to do. Who said? Who told you had things to do? Why do you have things to do? Why is it not a choice to just stay in bed for the rest of your life? That could be a choice, right? Why don't you? Guilt. Oh my God, that is so funny, because you'd feel guilty. I know. My daughter, she literally can stay in bed till like 2 p.m. if I don't go in and get her. And recently we tried it. And it was around 2 o'clock and we're like, gotta get her out, that's it. And I went and I was like, Nora, it's 2 o'clock. She went, okay. She doesn't have that thing in her that says, I have to get up at a certain time. Her choice is, I'll get up when I'm ready. Because it's summer and she knows in the fall she has to get up and go to school. That's her choice, sort of. So these are really important questions. Why do you choose the things you choose? Is it out of guilt? Is it out of responsibility? Is it because you think you should do this? Is it because this is what everybody else does? It's just normal to get up and get up at a certain time and go to work. How many of you choose whether or not to go to work? Do you wake up and say, I don't know if I'm going in today? How do I really want to choose in this moment? Or do many of you think, I have a job, I got to get to work. I have to be there at a certain time, and is that still your choice? It kind of still is. Not even kind of, forget kind of. It still is. So choice, living a life of choice. I think we delude ourselves into thinking that choices are not ours to make, and that there are certain things we have to do. And I'm here today to tell you there is nothing that you have to do in this world. Absolutely nothing. And the quote, to be or not to be, that's already answered. You don't get to choose whether you are or not. Because guess what? You are, Blanche. Dr. Walker, you are. You are. You can't choose whether to be or not. I don't even care if you say to me, I can choose to take my life. There are people that choose to take their life. It gets too painful, they're done, they're out of here. That doesn't mean that they no longer are. It just means that they've put an end to this. So to be or not to be is not really the question. The question is, what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with your beingness, right? Dr. Barker, how many of you are enjoying reading The Power of Decision? It is reading it again has been so amazing for me. Everybody has been asked this month to read The Power of Decision. Every morning, get up and read it. I think Jay ordered more books. We have more books in the bookstore. So for those of you who couldn't get it last week, get it this week. And just read a little bit every day. It really, really puts you to the test. So Dr. Charles Barker said, the universe waits for no one. Go forth and announce the ultimate truth. Go forth and announce the ultimate truth. So my question to you is, do you announce the truth, or are you in a tug of war between truth and the conditions? How many of you feel like you're in a tug of war between the truth and the conditions of your life? Seriously. This one woman, good for you. You're the honest one. The rest of us, no, but we tend to get in a tug of war between the truth and the conditions of our life. And it's the very tug of war that goes on that stops us from announcing the truth. What happens when you just announce something? You're not giving it room for debate. Do you ever really just announce something? This is what I'm doing, period. What happens? People kind of shut up. Do you ever notice that? It's like, I'm doing this, that's it. And you hear them start to go, no, I'm doing it. No, I'm doing it. They're like, whatever. That's what the law does. The law doesn't have attitude, but my law does. I hear it all the time in my head. But the law just says, okay, no discussion, no debate. So how often do you announce your life? Really announce it. Don't you most of the time spend your life in a tug of war between announcing the truth and then looking at the conditions to make sure they're actually going to work? Or do you even use the conditions as a way not to announce? Well, I can't announce that. Look at me. I'm going to stand here and announce, I expect to be a major motion picture movie star. I'm 86 years old. I'm not, for those of you who don't know me. And if I was, man, I'd have a lot to celebrate. So, we don't announce because we buy into something else. And you know what? Here's the real thing. Ultimately, we're actually announcing this. We're announcing the conditions. How many of you spend time announcing your conditions? You don't have to raise your hand. Oh, you raised your hand again. I love you. You're so honest. Are you new? You must be new today, aren't you? Yeah. You see, they've all learned not to answer me. But you just keep on answering me, because you're going to get far. Okay, so. Oh, that's so funny. I love, what is your name? Now we want to tell your whole name to the world online. Make up a name. Sandra. Is your last name D? Great, okay, good. Okay, so Sandra, good for you. So how many of you, including Sandra, are announcing the conditions of your life? Bob Morrissey, Brad Blaisdell, keep them coming. Okay, so in the famous words of Bob Newhart, not Morrissey, stop it. Just stop it. You actually have the capability, as Ellen told you, to choose to stop announcing the conditions of your life. How many times does somebody say to you, how's it going? And you just ring out a litany of the conditions in your life. How's it going? Well, this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. Oh, what did you do about that? Oh, nothing yet. I'm just telling you what's happening, right? And the universe is just waiting for you to announce, what do you want to know about that? So, Hamlet. Hamlet was so caught up in the world of conditions that he couldn't see the truth. The whole to be or not to be speech is just a plethora of examples of someone just caught in the conditions of life and not seeing the truth, not knowing what to do. He was just filled with utter confusion. A good production of Hamlet will put you in a very rich state of frustration. How many of you have seen Hamlet? Aren't you just frustrated? Don't you want to just say, Hamlet, get over it? Okay, your mother slept with your father's brother, so they killed him beforehand. Get over it. That's not your life, that's their life. Leave the castle. I mean, think about it. And you just sit there so frustrated, it's like, oh my God, and now you've killed Ophelia. In the midst of this whole drama, you don't even turn to the one pure, beautiful thing that can love you. The two of them, you just want them to be like Romeo and Juliet before the play happened. And have them just go off into eternity and leave Gertrude and what's his name back there to deal with their own crap. But so many of us get so involved with our family and all the things that happened up to this point, and we're still trying to resolve it for ourselves and still trying to make sense out of it all. And we're still listening to the ghosts of the past, walking through the I see my Hamlet production, walking through the gallows up there saying, Hamlet, and reminding you of all the crap you've ever done. Don't you think it's time to just say, I'm going to announce the truth and let all that just go away? Yes. To be or not to be happy? That is the question. To be or not to be happy. It is a choice. It's not a destiny. It's a choice. So, it's hard to announce anything when your mind is in a state of confusion. Do you notice that? How many of you have found yourself in a state of confusion going back and forth, and you're just so confused, you can't really announce in that moment. Frankly, you are announcing to the universe that you're confused. And I got to tell you, one of the things we're looking at this weekend in Mental Muscle is catchphrases. And one of the biggest catchphrases in the universe, and I will say this and you will actually recognize that you say it, is when people say, I don't know. How many of you hear yourself saying, I don't know? I do it. People will say something, I'll be like, I don't know. And I do know. I know everything. I do. I actually do. And so do you. It's just that we put the confusion in front of it and say, I don't know. I say I don't know when I do know. And I have caught myself in those times. Someone will ask me a question, I'll go, I don't know. I think it's, I don't know, but I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know, this is it. Yes, you do know. So stop saying I don't know. It's a catchphrase. What are catchphrases for? They're ways of you to avoid the question. I used to say, what was the one Jonathan caught me in and I had to really get rid of it and I don't even remember it anymore. Thank you, Brad, for remembering so quickly. Wow, when you take these courses with the students, they really nail you. So the thing is, that was it. I always used to say, the thing is, and it would give me time to think about what that thing was. But I would say the thing is, and I've eradicated that. You don't really hear me saying that anymore. Much. So, Karen's song. So Dr. Barker, he wrote this. The individual's ability, I love this is a great quote. The individual's ability to act unintelligently in a universe of intelligence is amazing. Think about that. Your ability to act unintelligent in a field of intelligence is astoundingly brilliant. We get to tell the universe some of the most amazing things we don't want and expect it not to give it to us. We spend all this time worrying about lack, which really means we're announcing lack in our life. We spend all this time worrying about, am I going to find someone to share my life with, which means we're announcing loneliness into our life. We spend all this time announcing all the diseases and the aches and pains and the things that are going on in our bodies, that we're announcing dis-ease in our lives. And the universe is sitting there thinking, why are you telling me? Actually, it doesn't think anything, it just does what you tell it to do. But your mind is actually, that higher part of you is actually saying, can't you think of something better to tell me to do? If I was the law, I literally would be sitting here astounded going, wow, you really want that? I mean, I'm gonna give it to you, but wow. Because if I was the law, I'd be judgmental. I'd be like, you are God. Are you kidding me? You're God and you would like an income of $20,000 a year? Wow, that's amazing. We really do have a great capacity to add some very unintelligent factors into an intelligent universe. In Karen's song, I Can Choose, just think about the lyrics she wrote. I can choose lack, and so it is. I can choose sadness, and so it is. I can choose disease, and so it is. Whatever you choose, and so it is. So what do you want to choose? And why don't we? That's really the bigger question today. Because I know that you guys get all of this. I know you get it. I get it. But if we get it, why are we still choosing things we don't want? It is funny, isn't it? Stupidity. I'll say it. Thank you, Johnny. Stupidity. We are just acting really stupid in an intelligent universe. Dr. Barker said, cause is never indecisive. I want you to think about that for a minute. Cause is never indecisive. I said this last week, and I got a lot of discussion about it this week. I said, there is nothing that has shown up in your life that didn't start out as a decision. Everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you call good and bad, relative, obviously. It all stemmed from some decision, indecision itself being a decision for failure. So, if cause is never indecisive, then obviously you need to be cause. Because you are God. Do you get that? You need to be cause because you are God. You get to choose. My favorite quote in the entire book is this: trouble results when an unintelligent factor is introduced into a field of intelligent activity. How many of you have troubles that have resulted from the unintelligent factors that you have introduced into a field of intelligent activity? You don't have to raise your hands. I know who you are. Your life is, because it's all of us, your life is filled with inevitable consequences. Now, I want you to think about this. Inevitable consequences, meaning the logical effect of your cause. If cause is never indecisive, and there is an inevitable consequence to everything that goes on in your mind, then logically speaking, spiritually logically speaking, you are responsible for thinking into thought, into the law, what it is you want, and nothing else. What if you really eradicated everything out of your mind that you didn't want? What if you never entertained anything other than what you want? How many of you invite people into your house to entertain, to have dinner with, that you really don't like? Watch, you're going to go, I do, I hate it, I do. How many people really want to invite people to come spend part of their life when they don't like that person? When that person adds nothing to their life? When, in fact, that person is a sycophant? When they just drain you from all the energy of your life? And yet some people still do that. But logically speaking, don't you want to invite people to come to your house for dinner that you want to have fun with? No? Yes. Well, who do you invite? Don't you want to only bring things into your life that expand you, that swell you? Yes? Yes. You guys are a little slow today. Say yes. Yes. Yes, that's what we want. So, yeah. So, we are a choice. You are what makes that happen. Your life is filled with inevitable consequences, meaning the logical effect of your cause. Your cause. Your is the operative in that sentence. You are the operative. There is nothing out there. Nothing out there. There is only in here. What shows up out there is the mirrored image of what is in here. That's it. Whatever's showing up out here is the mirrored image of what's going on in here. You want to change your life? You need to change what's going on in here, not out there. Don't go try to change everybody out here. Just change in here, and everything will change out there. Last night, Kevin and I went to see The Fault in Our Stars. And it was funny. Kevin's laughing. It was funny because we had a night that we actually had free, and we have had so seldom do we have a night that's free for both of us. And so we wanted to go to the movies, and we both agreed to go see The Fault in Our Stars. And we knew, we hadn't read the book, but our children had told us, we knew this was not going to be a laugh out loud riot fest. And we knew it was going to be sad. And I hadn't read the book, so I didn't know what was going to happen, and so I'm not going to tell you, but everybody knows it's going to be an emotional story. Has anybody seen it yet? Okay, you never even heard of it? It's a tremendously beautiful movie, beautifully done. The Fault in Our Stars. And there was a moment in the movie, and this doesn't give anything away, where the young man is really talking about his need for and his capacity to and his desire to make a mark on the world, to leave an impression on the world, that he wants the world to remember him. And it's a beautiful sentiment. And I'm going to get all emotional about this. And when I heard him say that, I heard a little voice in me saying, yeah, you still have that going on too. You know, you still have that little thing going on that you want to make a mark in the world. You want to leave a lasting impression. You want to be remembered. I know this year when we did in the 300 class, when everyone did their funerals and their eulogies, it's always interesting to do your own eulogy and to see what you want to have to be said at your eulogy. So it was interesting every year when I get to teach that, to sit there myself and go, what would I like to be said? And I have to say, when this happened in the movie last night and I started thinking about it, Ernest Holmes' quote came up in my head, and it's this: we are not here to make a difference in the world. We're here to make a difference in ourselves. I am not here to make a difference in the world. I'm not here to be the last word on science of mind. I'm not here to catapult myself into some high plateau of leader. I'm really not. I'm here because this science works for me. It has changed my life. It has turned it around. It has expanded my heart and my soul. What I thought I wanted to do with my life ends up being very small as compared to what I'm doing with my life now. And there are people that can say to me, aren't you sorry that you never won a Tony? Or aren't you, since it's Tony's tonight, aren't you sorry that you never continued your acting career and won an Oscar? And I got to say, yes, I am. No, I have to say, that would have been nice. It would have been really nice. But nicer than this, standing here today? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't feel so. So watching this movie, it was really interesting to go back to what Ernest Holmes said. You are here to make a difference in your world. You are here to make a difference in your life. It is up to you to, in your mind, know who you are and then make choices from that truth. As Thomas Troward said, we are here to enjoy life, nothing more. We're just here to enjoy life. So with that, how you doing? How are you doing with that? There was a moment in the movie last night where something came up and my mind went somewhere else, and I thought about love, and I was sitting next to Kevin, and of course when we go to these emotionally romantic movies, we're kind of like one person in two seats. You know, we're holding hands, and there were I was going to say little girls, but there were a lot of little girls in this movie theater, and the sobbing and the crying and all was just mostly coming from Kevin. But there was a moment in the movie where it was, I love you, was said. And the question was, is saying I love you enough for you? Me loving you, isn't that enough love for a lifetime? And I turned and looked at Kevin and I thought to myself, I am the luckiest man in the world. And then I thought about y'all, I thought about my children, I thought about this congregation, I thought the love that I get, the love that comes towards me, oh my God, that's enough for a lifetime. I don't need anything more. And yet, take it back to the one person. Love is infinite. Love is so expansively infinite that when one person can love another person, that's enough. How can you quantify love? How can you say that's not enough love? Well, I need more people to love me. That's an ego that needs to be fed because it doesn't know who it is. And so this movie brought this whole understanding of choosing to love to such a higher level for me. To love only. Just love. Because love is so infinitely expansive that if you're willing to do it, really do it, just love, everywhere you turn, just love, you are tapping into that infinite wellspring of love and feeling it come back to you fully. When you feel love, you don't think about how much you feel, you just feel. Do you ever have one of those moments when you are so full that you honestly think you're going to break open? I remember when John Livesey and Oscar got married, and I was standing there and I was watching the love the two of them had for one another, and as they were going to do their vows, and Oscar did his vows, and it was so emotional. And you know, when you're the minister in these weddings, you just get to, it's such a beautiful place to be, to watch. And then I turned to John to do his vows, and he opened his mouth. Is John here? May I tell them this? Because if you weren't here, I was going to. So I turned to watch John say his vows, and he opened his mouth. And he just went, ah! He almost didn't need to say another word. It was so beautiful. It was so profoundly beautiful. And we were all so shocked. We were like, what a moment of understanding that love is love. Whenever you step into it, it is full. It is infinite. And that's a choice. Because that's really, to be or not to be, the real question here today is, do you recognize yourself as love? Do you recognize yourself as love? Dr. Barker said, you are not an observer in the universe. You are a vital participant of the universe. So I'm going to close today with reading a little passage from The Power of Decision. And I'm going to first thank you for giving me 10 years. I'm not quitting, but thank you for giving me, for giving me 10 years to get to stand behind this podium and grow up. And I do mean up to an unlimited potential. And to understand that that's what I'm really here for. To know my unlimited potential. And in knowing my unlimited potential, I can see that in everyone else. And consciousness is what heals. Not words, not anything else. It's consciousness that heals. And if we take our consciousness up to that place where we love only and do forgive everything, and if we take it to the place where we remember who we are, everything is possible. So Dr. Barker said, "You are not an observer of the universe, you are a vital participant of the universe. Let no one ever again tell you that you are unimportant. Your being here is not a mistake. Intelligence created you to live in these times because you are equipped to meet the challenges of these times. You are the right person in the right place to create the right world for yourself. All the resources of the infinite are already yours. They need you as a means of self-expression. The question is, what are you going to do about it? To be or not to be? That is the question. What are you going to do? What choice are you going to make? To be the highest expression of yourself possible. It all comes down to choice. And so, it's your move. Namaste. Thank you.